So today's going to be a little bit more of a lighthearted video because it's essentially a year to the day that I built my dream studio, which you can see that I'm in right now. And it's very nostalgic for me because prior to the way you see the studio looking right now, I spent a good 8 years absolutely grinding from what was sort of makeshift living room. And I dreamt of having a studio that looks like this. I dreamt of this design, and I figured probably a good time now to kind of give you guys the story and how it worked out, some of the struggles and some of the successes. It was a very impulsive decision. I kind of felt like there's no way I'm going to be able to keep creating new things from the exact same place, and I had done it for like 8 years. God bless her, my wife had just given birth. We had a newborn baby boy, and I felt guilty about even thinking about building a new studio because God only knows how many more diapers or formula or baby clothes I could have bought with it. But I genuinely felt it was something I needed to do for my mental well-being and my creative well-being. I just didn't feel that I could create being in the exact same spot. Obviously, looking back now, it's one of the best decisions that I ever made. I feel so different coming into work. The energy that I bring to the studio is so much better because it's in a place that looks how I feel when I create. I reached out to a company, and this is probably one of the biggest struggles of this story. I'm a little hesitant to name the company, and right now as I'm filming, I'm still debating whether I should or not, because the beginning part of the experience with them was great. The latter end of it was absolutely horrendous. It ended on an extremely sour note, even though it didn't really affect the studio and the way that it looks and the way that it sounds and the way that I wanted it to turn out. The experience you have building something this important to me really matters. I don't want to speak bad on a company, and I don't really want to give them credit where maybe it's not due. So instead, I'm just going to say that I worked with a local company here in Dubai. They're the ones that helped me put this together. That's probably the best way that I can put it. I had a couple of designs and layouts in mind, but I was essentially using like ChatGPT and a little bit of Photoshop to kind of stick images together. They essentially sent me like layouts of what this thing was going to look like. If you haven't seen pictures of the original studio, like I said, it was like a makeshift living room. So the first thing that they suggested was just repaint it, just kind of give it a whole new fresh coat. So yeah, we put together the panel designs and the lighting, and that was the first thing to be installed. They obviously came in, they put in all of the panels. They did it super quick, which is amazing. This is all essentially happening within the first 2 days. And then once the panels were up and running, the next thing was to put in the curtains and to install the TV, because you have to do all the ceiling stuff after that. So they put up the panels on the ceiling, and then they put up the TV. And then after all of that was a situation about the desk, the measurements to see whether it was tall enough. They basically had to bring it in 3 pieces and then assemble it here in the studio. And once they put the desk in, the rest was quite simple and straightforward. Obviously I'm going for the all white aesthetic, and the only thing left really was just getting the booth done, which was quite simple. It's not a very hard thing. The most time really just was spent on racking everything in, making sure all the cables were nice and neat and nothing sort of like sticks out and shows. But all in all, I can't really explain how happy I am with the studio. It was probably, at the time, maybe not the most wise decision, but I have to say, looking back now, it's one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. And everyone that's come to the studio absolutely loves it. The energy is different. The output, which is the main thing, is super, super different. I know I do a lot of videos on gear and equipment and whatnot, but essentially those are elements that contribute to the sound, but they don't contribute to the person. No matter how much gear you have, if you're not excited to go into the room, no deflated, low energy, low vibrational person is going to bring out the best of the most expensive gear. That's essentially the story of how I built my dream studio. So I wanted to put this video together for essentially anyone out there who might have been like me, thinking of whether they should or should not go for it. If you can afford it, go for it. It changed my life. I'm a happier husband, I'm a happier father, I'm a happier producer, I'm a happier engineer, and I'm a happier person. And I think that's all that matters. Being in the position that I'm in with work, you sort of have to lead the energy of the room, and you have to be the sort of, captain of the ship. And I'm very happy captaining the ship. So if there's any questions about any of the gear or any links to anything that you guys might want to know, please let me know in the comments. But 1 year to the day, no regrets.